by the time you do end up walking and thinking of football, is there something you want to remember for what you achieved both on and off the field?
Honestly, yeah. Like you said, I'm a guy that really loves football. Um, One thing I really want to achieve, and this is by my heart, and I'm not talking just a talking, is a gold jacket.
What's going on today? I'm the host, Zach Schumaker, and joining me today is second team All-Pac 12 selection, two-time Pac 12 Offensive Player of the Week, one-time Rose Bowl Player of the Week. He's also a member of the 2022 Senior Bowl, and he's also ranked as a top 10 running back in the 2022 NFL Draft class, Rachaad White. Appreciate you coming on today, my man.
Hey, appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Whoa. This has been a incredible story for you to get to this point, but to hear all these awards coming into your name now, where you're being selected to the All Pac-12 team, you know that there's a really good chance you're gonna be drafted in a few months. Just walk us through what life is in Rachaad White's life right now.
I don't know. Like it's not the same. Obviously, a lot of things change, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of still the same guy. It's just happy. I'll be blessed and grateful for everything that I've been through, that I went through. Um, and honestly, right now, it's just focus. Really, it's my life right now. Focus, just have fun with it. Focus and got some goals and things I have in mind, things that I want to accomplish, and that's just kind of what I want to do right now.
As I mentioned, this has been an incredible story just to get to this point with all the trials and tribulations you've gone through. So that's what I really want to get into today. I want people to get to know your story and how you've become the NFL prospect that we know you as today. So if we head all the way back, you're originally from Kansas City, Missouri. What's it like growing up out there?
Uh, Kansas City is small, but it ain't like crazy small. But it's small. It's just hard growing up out there. Inner city. Just where you come from, you just see a lot of broken down homes, abandoned apartments. It's just rough to grow up down there. But I had my mom and my brothers and my other family members, and they did the best they could, for us growing up, and to make sure that we grew up the right way and in the best way possibly that they could help us grow up and you kind of just look back at it like, man, that's crazy that you hear it here to this point today.
Growing up in that environment, like you said, it's obviously different than a lot of different places. It's not easy. So how did that environment you grew up in kind of make you into the person that you are today? Like what traits did it bring into you and how did that kind of form you into the person that you are today?
Uh, it just kind of it formed me into the person I am today a lot. First, just being grateful, just being blessed for anything, to have anything. Just understanding like how I grew up and the things that I kind of wanted, like all the things obviously you want, as a kid growing up, you couldn't really get things like that. So now it just like makes me understand and be grateful for what I did get and what I didn't understand at the time. So now, like everything, the same guy I am. I'm just happy and blessed, like I said, just to be here right here today, and especially compared to how I grew up.
There's obviously different ways you could have gone down this. You've now turned into football, like you put all your effort into football, but and then anywhere you grow up, obviously there's different trials and places you can go down pathwise. But how in that place did you kind of decide to say, you know what, I want to pursue football. That's the thing I want to put all my effort into. I'm not going to go straight down the other sides I could possibly go down that's surrounding me right now. So how did you just lock into football and stay on that path?
Honestly, it was really my family members, my brother, and things like that. My oldest brother, just understanding, because I was a big basketball guy. I mean, I like football, I was good at it, but I really, like basketball a lot. I'll say probably most like, more than football. But my brother was just kind of, everybody was just kind of breaking down, how it is when you grow up, the odds of you making it here and there, and just how the odds were slimmer in basketball than football, and just with my size and things like that, it'd be smoother and probably an easier transition for football than basketball. So when I had that talk with him, I just had to with him. I just dove like head into football some events happened when I was in high school. I mean, obviously being under recruited and things like that, and just being nominated for like big awards where I'm from, and just coming up short and not winning it, and it made me kind of understand and realize, that you gotta grind for what you want. You got to take it.
Like you mentioned, you have siblings. I think you have 3 older brothers growing up with, 2 sisters as well. But when you have other brothers that also played sports too, how was that like just kind of growing up alongside other guys that play sports? I'm sure you guys got into one-on-one games and different stuff like that too. So what was that like?
It was actually fun. I was actually grateful. I mean, actually, lovely. Made you tough. Obviously, I was the youngest of them all, and it made you tough. It just made you. It just kind of made me and molded me into who I am today. And I mean, it was never a dual moment in the house. Something was always broke. It was just something always going on. You could have a brother to go outside with, like you said, and play one-on-one or play catch or play this. And the brothers got older friends, and then you got friends. And next it turns into a neighborhood football game and things like that. So it was fun.
When you guys do go out there and play one-on-one, I'm not sure if you guys have done that recently, but when you guys do go out there or did go out there, who would have won the one-on-one games?
My older brothers would give me a lot. I mean, I was like the youngest, obviously the smallest, but I kept fighting. So I would say they got it a lot. I mean, but now there'd be no question about it, who will win them, who will win the one-on-ones.
If I or someone came in and told you back then when you were in middle school or elementary school or whatnot and said eventually down the road, it's not going to be an easy path, but you're eventually going to become someone that is most likely to be drafted in the NFL draft, what would have went through your mind?
Um, I was in middle school. I had the dreams, aspirations, but I'd probably be like ask you questions, things like that, like what make you say me out of all the people, things like that, out of all of us, all the football players on my middle school team or whatever. So I mean, I'd probably look at you like you crazy, but at the same time I would just be like, kind of happy or blessed, like, just still that you believed in, that someone would believe in me to make it that far, this far.
You mentioned that basketball was the sport you first fell in love with. So when did the football get put in your hands and when did you eventually say, okay, I truly now just love football? Like, I'm not just going to kind of realize, okay, football might be best for me, but like you truly did fall in love with the game of football.
Kind of honestly, football kind of was in my hand, all my life. I think I started playing football before I played basketball, but I don't know, it was just something about basketball, things like that. So I would say probably like, high school is where I understood that, football, like going to my junior year and going into my senior year, things like that, just understanding that, football is kind of where it's at for me. I'm better in football and, not to take away what I was in basketball, but it was just kind of like, understanding like, yeah, this is, I should, go with football. I have more passion for football and love for it than basketball.
I also read that you eventually, obviously, I don't think was a part of your life growing up, but he came back in later into high school. So walk us that a little bit. Like, how has that worked out now? How has he kind of helped impact you to this point?
Yeah. Everybody, go through trials and tribulations, things like that. But,
Mhm.
um, forgiveness, healing and things like that, so it kind of played out real perfect, he came, at kind of a right pivotal moment, high school, things like that. And, you just kind of like learn from your pops of, what not to do. And then, just hear your dad and your pops talk about, how he believed in you, things like that. And just grateful to have a male figure in your life, especially if it's your dad.
How big was it for you when he did come back into your life? And I know you guys are now close and it helps you to this point. How big has he been in helping you get to where you're at now?
He's been very helpful.
Mhm.
Been very helpful. Been talking to me. Been, just be staying on you, things like that. Just making sure you focus and things like that. He just keep reiterating the little things, that you need to hear, because you can kind of, lose track and lose sight of, especially going down this journey. So, like I said, just giving knowledge, even though, he never made it to the NFL and nothing like that, but just kind of understanding, looking at the world, and he, making sure, you do it the right way because it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
How about for your mom raising three brother or four boys, two girls? That couldn't have been too easy. So, how did that work? And just talk about your mom and her impact on your life.
My mom, she has a huge impact on my life. She grinded, like you said, just everything. Especially growing up, it was hard, and that's why it was good that I had older siblings because they came into play. My brother, my oldest brother, things like that. He would cook and hold it down. My mom, she had to work a lot, and she was going to school, finishing up school and stuff like that. I went back to school, was finishing up getting her, masters and her bachelor's and things like that. So it was kind of very pivotal to see my mom grind and providing like that. Plus, her to go to college and get a degree. So, it was very inspirational.
For you now to be at this point in your life, what's her reaction to that? And just what's her thoughts knowing that, okay, my son's obviously made it now. He's made it through college. He's made it through NBA or NFL eventually now. What's her thoughts on all this going on right now?
Really, her thoughts is she just happy. You can just really tell so much excitement every time she calls and we talk to each other and I call her. She just same thing, understands, reiterate things, the little things, and just she always says she's proud of me and she's happy for me.
Let's hop into that high school career. You end up going through that, and by the time you are a senior, you become one of the top players in the state, at least number wise. But why originally did you choose to go to Center High? Like, why was that the school that you said, okay, I want to play my football career out here?
Just kind of where I grew up. Like I said, the neighborhood I grew up in. I was actually kind of blessed to have Center High School in the neighborhood that I grew up in because it was rough. It was other schools that was tough. My mom just thought like she was big on education and things like that, and she thought Center was a great educational school and just a great area in general of where to go to school. Don't have to worry about her kids getting in trouble and things like that, and a rough area or neighborhood school wise. So I just kind of went with whatever my mom said, kind of goes.
When did you start feeling that football really started getting to you and start feeling like, okay, I truly am one of the better players now? Like every time I get on that field, I start feeling like, okay, I'm not just someone that just is dreaming anymore about playing football at the next level. I truly do feel like I can play at the Division 1 level. I am one of the better running backs. I can play at another level. Like when did that start clicking for you?
High school for sure. I'll say like kind of my junior year, things like that. I had a bunch of looks and things like that, and I was kind of understanding that, yeah, like like I can play, I can play Division 1 level. I'm that type of player, things like that. And then it grew into my senior year, and understanding what type of year I had, and I thought I was gonna get a Division 1 scholarship, but I ended up didn't. But that's what really when it hit like junior year, just understanding like, yeah, I'm becoming into the man I'm supposed to become, young man I'm supposed to become, and everything, and just understanding.
Have you always had your size? We know you're obviously one of the bigger running backs in this class. So have you always been tall? Did you have a growth spurt eventually during high school, or were you just typically always one of the taller guys at your class?
I would say, yeah, I believe I did. I don't know when I had a growth spurt. Probably, yeah, like I said, going into my junior year or so. But like junior year, senior year, yeah, for sure. I grew more and more.
Now, how have you incorporated that into your game? Because having being 6'2", obviously that's going to come with a lot of advantages too on the field. Obviously, there can be obviously some of them are more towards 6 foot range or whatnot. But how have you learned to take that advantage, extra a couple of inches, and produce that onto the football field?
Uh, Honestly, it just kind of it's a different type of blessing. I really honestly just use my height with my running in general, really. And my height, just trying to be powerful, be strong when running the ball and things like that, and when making contact and balance and stuff like that. So it really just like I said, helpful with running. Stride is longer, things like that, and jump ball, catching the ball out the backfield, just things like that.
You mentioned that you started getting interest, started getting looks throughout junior and senior season. As you said, though, too, we know that you don't end up getting a Division 1 offer following your senior. You have to go to Division 2. We'll get into that in a second. But how did you deal with that? Because you look at your numbers, you're putting up over 1,000 yards through rushing. You're dominating over your high school career and your special upperclassmen years, especially. How did you take that into saying, okay, I need to go to college. I want to go to college, but you're not getting the looks. You're not getting the offers. How did you deal with that?
It was kind of just like, I mean, understanding that only way I can really go to college is if, I get a scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
because school is high. So that's kind of what took into consideration. Then my high school coach was really always preaching like, regardless of what it is, and the type of man like my mom raised me to be is, be humble, be grateful for, kind of whatever you got. So,
Mm-hmm.
I was just humble and grateful that, I at least received a good amount of Division II offers out of high school. And, I was kind of sick and sad, of course, and angry about not receiving a Division I offer. But it's kind of like, you gotta, take what you got, and be grateful for what you have, what you got. So that's kind of, how I played into that, to that.
When you look back at yourself, do you feel like you truly just were underlooked? Do you feel like, if I got bigger spotlight on me or something like that, I should have been a highly recruited Division I athlete coming out of high school? Or was it just that, okay, you spent the next 2, 3 years developing, and over that 3 year span, you really turned into the player that you are now today?
I mean, to me personally, to me, honestly, yeah, I would say that, I was overlooked for sure. But, kind of like, kind of is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, like at this point that I am in my life, of course, I would say that. But, you know, it's kind of, tough to say, honestly, because I could have developed at a Division I school and, redshirt or whatever, and then been, the same player I am. But,
Mm-hmm.
the journey was the journey that I had to take, that God wanted me to take.
Well, let's go into that because you ended up going to Division II school out there in Nebraska. Walk us through that. Was that the only Division II school that offered you? Was that just the one that they won you over by, or what led you to go out there to
Led,
Nebraska?
what led me to Nebraska Kearney is I like the coach. I like the coaching staff that had got hired, Coach Josh Lynn and them. Them guys still up there. And then I liked it. I mean, I just like what they was doing. The program was kind of, down bad, and I was always that guy that felt like, I could be a change to a program and, help turn around a program. Plus, it was the only Division II that was offered me to play, specifically running back. The other Division II offers I had, they wanted me to be an athlete. Obviously 6'2" guy, things like that. Play corner or something, and still do special teams and return the ball and things like that. But they was the only school that offered me to play specifically running back, and that's kind of what I had in mind and in heart. It's what I wanted to do, play running back.
I have to imagine that there are a lot of guys out there that kind of go the other way around that and say, you know what, I feel like I'm a running back, but I just want to go here or here or whatnot. I'll change up my dream. What led you to say, I'm staying locked in. I know I can be a running back. I know I can make this a living for me someday down the road. What kept you keyed in and locked in and saying, I want to be a running back as opposed to switching positions?
It just kind of where what I really love, and running back is what I would really love, and then I would say what played a part into it is just everybody wanted me to be an athlete, things like that, which in my head had me think like, do people not believe I could be a running back for their program, or I'm not good enough to be a running back and things like that. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm gonna show you type deal that I could be a running back.
Where were you in terms of your future going forward at that point? Did you still think that I'm going to be an NFL running back someday? I can still be that player that's going to make a living for this? Were your dreams kind of going a little bit away at that point? Or where were you in terms of your NFL dream going into college at the Division II level?
No, my dream was like, I'm gonna do whatever 4 years straight here, and whatever it is, a pro day here, or whatever it is I need to do, or kill it, and kind of get a combine invite if so, it's rare. Or get same thing as Senior Bowl or something, just some rare, invite and kind of go from there. Get some kind of exposure or whatever. But that was my dream. I mean, my mindset stayed the same. I was gonna go. I was gonna try to go to the league from Division II or Division I.
That is definitely not the mindset of probably about 95% of people out there. A lot of them would say, okay, I'm going Division II now. My goal obviously might not be going for me long term. So what in front of you kind of kept you locked into saying that? Like, was it family? Was it God? Was it like what kept you so grounded and saying, you know what? I know that I can be a pro player, even though all these things are going on around me and the odds are pretty much stacked against me.
Just kind of my mindset, my determination. Honestly, I just always believe that that I could make it. I always believe my skill set, what I bring to the what I bring to the table. I felt like as a ball player that I can make it, and a bunch of guys they can attest and say like, because I was telling them that I'm gonna go to the league from here and or wherever whatever it takes. So that's kind of how my mindset was. Like I believe in myself.
You get out there, you end up having a redshirt that year too. Walk us through your mindset on that when that happened to you. Was that something that you were expecting heading into that thing? Did that shock you? What was your reaction when you ended up having a redshirt your freshman season?
Honestly, I was fine with it. I
Mm-hmm.
was one of them guys. I wasn't where I wanted to be. I mean, I was pretty nice coming out of high school. Don't get me wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I'd be better later on down the road, like how I am now. So it was kind of like I understood this like that. I was thinking about playing at first and things like that, but I understood, like what needed to be done, and I needed like a red shirt year, to get in the weight room or whatever, gain some more weight, things like that, get accustomed to everything that was going on. So I was fine with it.
You then decide to transfer out. You go to the JUCO route, Mount San Antonio. You go out there to Walnut, California. What led to that transfer? Why did you want to go JUCO instead of playing Division two then?
Like I said, honestly, I was a guy. I was sold. I was sold on like Nebraska Kearney. Like I'm gonna go to the league from here. This and that. Blah blah blah. So then I had some junior college guys that was there at Kearney. That kind of came in with my class, but they came in from junior college, and we kind of gained that rapport and that friendship and that that brotherhood. Me and a couple guys, and they was just kind of talking some sense into me, kind of like not necessarily like in a bad way, but in a good way. Just like it's gonna be so hard. Like they're just telling me it's gonna be so hard, to go to the league from here. They're not saying that I can. They was like not saying that you can't do it because we believe you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they was like, but it'd be easier, like it'd be harder, but it you got to go backwards sometimes to go forward. So that's what they was telling me. So they was like, it's hard right now. It'd be hard at first during college, especially in California. They don't give you no scholarships, but later on you gonna get to the point to where you at right now, to where I'm at right now, to where it's like, okay, it was worth it, and that was the thing about it. They told me that they didn't regret nothing about going junior college. They just, wish they would have made better grades and they would have been a different position, things like that. But that's kind of how it happened. And I got connected with a couple coaches out there and some coaches gave me some looks and wanted me to come and I ended up choosing Mount Sac.
When you spent that redshirt season, what were the biggest things you grew in? Like, were there specific things that you feel like you took a big jump on from your high school senior season to then at that point heading out to JUCO?
Honestly, I just feel like preparation, just understanding like what all goes into football and kind of just growing up, really being somewhere on time, like taking football seriously and things like that. And it, like I said, it all started like after my senior year. I didn't get no Division I offers and things like that, and I had to understand that it's more to football to and to getting better than just going to practice. Is what you do outside of practice. So I grinded that summer. I grinded that summer before going to Division II, and then at the Division II, I just grinded and still like I was doing things other than what the team issued, and outside of that, just trying to get better on my own and stuff like that. But that's kind of really what it taught me. Just kind of being a man, understanding you got responsibilities and you got to handle them.
Everyone knows that JUCO is a different type of place too. That's a mentality you have to get. It's not an easy place to go into because at the end of the day, it's almost as if a timer's on you. You know that you have to get out of there in just a couple of years. Well, a couple of years of eligibility, if you don't make it to that next level, obviously it's pretty much over at that point for a certain extent. So how did the JUCO mentality get to you, and just what did you kind of gain from being a part of a JUCO college?
Um, Honestly, the JUCO mentality. I don't know. When I got down there, it was guys and it was people that's telling me, and even I kept contact with the guys that told me from Kearney that I should go JUCO, and They tell me one thing that stuck with me, like, they was like JUCO either make you or break you. And I was a guy that, was not gonna be broken, especially off of everything I done did and where I came from. Plus it was like, I transfer here and, I gotta prove myself right, but I also gotta prove, others wrong. And that's kind of like the life, that we live in. And it was like, I just came from a Division 2. So, the way you got, what I'm saying, there's no other way but to go Division 1. You just came from Division 2. Otherwise, you just wasted 2 years of, of your eligibility of your life. So that's kind of was my mindset.
Did the mentality you gained from growing up out there in Kansas City, Missouri, was that kind of help prepare you then for JUCO? So JUCO wasn't as hard for you per se, or was it kind of just something that you just naturally had, but almost turned into two different separate mentalities that you now have today?
JUCO was it was still hard. It was very hard,
Mhm.
but yeah, just the mentality growing up, just seeing my mom always, you got to make a way, no matter what um, kind of deal. My brothers, things like that. Just seeing all of them that you got to make a way. It kind of just helped me out. JUCO, like, you got to make a way regardless. You decided to do this. It can either only go two ways. It could be, reward. It could be a reward, or it could have been a risk that failed. So,
Mhm.
I understood. I understood, like, what had to be done, what needed to be accomplished.
What was the hardest part of about being a JUCO athlete for you?
I would say just the living part, especially being up there in California, no scholarships, things like that. One thing I would say Mount Sac helped a lot is they had connections to apartments and things like that and living. So they helped you out with that. But, you still had to, like, pay bills on your own, things like that. And, it's tough, especially when you a kid and, cost of living in California is really crazy. So 18 years old, and you gotta, find a way. You gotta grow up, like really grow up, and and that's what I would say really just helped out. It helped me grow up a lot and understand that, like I said, things got to be done, responsibility. So you got to find a way to pay your bills while getting better at football, while going to football practice, while handling your business in school.
And that's what I was just going to ask. How did you balance that? Because that is not easy for anyone just to balance school and athletics, but you have to factor in the financial aspect too. That makes it even more complicated. So, what was your schedule like, and how did you ultimately balance all three of those big things for you?
Honestly, my schedule was kind of hectic. I had school, I had class, then I had football, and then I was also working a job. But the thing I would say about it, working some jobs. The thing that I would say about it is, it's just I had good people around me. I have ended up meeting my godparents out there, and like I named them my godparents because I didn't even know who my godparents was really growing up, but ended up meeting them. Walk into a store one time and you just know good people. And my godparents still around right now, and they helped me a long way, helped me come a long way, and I just kind of understood though, like I don't want to live like this, like I don't like this. Just me, like I don't want to work a 9 to 5 or things like that. When I got this once in a lifetime opportunity, God gave me this gift, and yes, I got to work for it and grind for it, but at the same time, it's like I can make something happen.
You got to take us through a little bit more about your godparents then. You said you were just walking to the store one day. How'd that all happen? And how'd you guys become that close?
I was walking to 7-Eleven, and my god pops, he had like he wasn't my god pops obviously at the time, but just a regular, unknown random man. And I was just walking to the store. I had like a white beater on, some slides and some shorts. And um I mean, I had to figure I had the statue. I was still 6'2", probably about, like 190 or so. But
Mhm.
I was, kind of solid, like cut or whatever. So my god pops was like, he ended up stopping me, like, hey, young man, this and that. You play ball. and where you from, this and that. And, my godpops ended up, he was telling me stories, how he played. I was like, yeah, I played junior college ball right up the street at that junior college and things like that. And he ended up telling me a story like, that's crazy how the universe works. He was telling me like he played junior college ball up at Coffeyville and that he ended up going, to Colorado. That's when Eric Bieniemy and all them guys was there and playing there a little bit. He played running back as well. So, we kind of just hit it off, but, still like how my mom, taught me, I didn't really trust people. So I'm like, and he gave me $20 like randomly and I didn't want to take it, but he like, no, go ahead. It's okay. Take it. Like, it's okay to, it's okay to take things, cause I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm one of the guys that believe that, somebody gonna want something back in return. So I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I just keep struggling, even though the $20 look good. But so I ended up taking it, and he ended up, we're just talking to me and things like that. And like, let me get your number. So he took my number, and I took his number. He ended up texting me like, groceries, things like that. I'll help you with anything you need, things like that. And we just kind of hit it off, just gained trust, this like that. At first, though, when he texted me, I was like, hold on, I don't know, like telling some of the roommates, like my roommates that I had at the time, like, man, I don't know about, like I don't know, like about this guy. It seemed pretty fishy. Like he talking about bringing me milk and stuff for free and all that. I'm like, I don't know, like cereal and groceries, all kind of different other groceries. I'm like, I don't know about that guy. Like, but then I end up like, kind of trusting them, and it went a long way.
When did that barrier kind of break and you started feeling like, okay, he actually is someone I can trust now. I truly do kind of accept this guy now.
I forgot what he said. I mean, I think he just kind of telling me about like him, his life, background, and stuff like that. Like, kind of opening up. And, it's kind of rare males open up and things like that. They give you, kind of their background, like a background check, things like that. And, just sending me things and articles of him, things like that, just trying to, gain my trust and stuff. Because I think I wasn't texting him back, like, I was kind of procrastinating or whatever. Like, like he could tell that I didn't trust him. And it was kind of like, okay, yeah, I trust him. Like, who you is, who he say he is. He don't seem like a, kind of weird male, a weird man, just trying to, things like that. And that's where it kind of hit off.
Now, throughout the next, obviously up until this point, but even like throughout your time out there, when you're closer to him in JUCO or whatnot, how big was that just having him, someone in your life, once again, can kind of help you out, obviously helps you out groceries or whatnot, but just having someone else you can kind of talk to that's close by, how important was that for you and your career out there?
Very important. I mean, he helped me out, more than groceries. He helped me out with, wisdom, encouragement, knowledge, just understanding, and things like that, believing in me and things like that, making sure I believed in myself, trust my decisions that I made as a man and so kind of like I can tell you a lot of stuff that he helped me out with, but at the end of the day, like I said, man, just a great guy, great people. God blessed me with my godparents in my life, and yeah, it went from there.
Let's go into that JUCO career. What kind of did you expect for your first year of JUCO to be like?
So my first year JUCO, I mean, it's kind of like, I was a new guy, things like that. It was already running backs there. And, they had been there for, a couple years already because JUCO got a thing where you can gray shirt or whatever. So you take a couple classes, they don't really start your eligibility. So they already, was practicing, knew the system, things like that. So they were sophomores when my first year was there. So, and, it kind of was just like, like it's not like a doggy dog world, but it's kind of like, you got to eat, things like that. But at the same time, I had to gain the coach's trust. So I started off my first year as like the third down back. Not even necessarily because I could catch, but necessarily because I was the biggest running back of them all. So it's like, they wanted me to gain that trust to see if I go in there and pass protect or whatever, do that little job. I wasn't even getting the ball or whatever. And you can go ask my coaches or whatever, and they'll tell you. And, I didn't complain or nothing about it. I just, like I said, that's the type of guy I am, how I was raised. I was just doing whatever they asked me to do. It ended up happening that I end up having something happened where it was like, all right, now we trust him. Let's give him the ball and stuff like that. And I end up having a crazy game, like fifth or sixth game of the season. It wasn't like too crazy. We ended up losing, which was tough. But it was like 4 carries for 125 yards or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a touchdown. And we had played. That's when we had played. If you ever heard of him, like Ramadre Stevenson or whatever, he played for the Patriots right now. He went to Oklahoma. Yeah, we ended up playing him, and he had like 200 something on us. And it was kind of like, okay, like yeah, now they had understood like, okay, yeah, we got something special. But they kind of still bring me along the right way and things like that. And that's why I'm grateful for it, because it's like I'm 23 years old, but I don't have a lot of mileage on my body. It's like I probably have 250 like touches in probably my whole 4 years of college. Like that's what people don't understand. Like my whole 4 years of college, like I never been one of them guys. Like this year's the most touches I got, I think, in my college career, or probably tied with my sophomore season at Mount Sac. And that's it. That.
When did you start feeling that the coaching staff was kind of getting onto you? I mean, obviously you went through the your first season out there, you go through the next offseason and whatnot, but when did you start feeling that, okay, this is going to be my team now, I'm ready to go, and I can be a lead back now for you guys?
Just kind of going in the office. I was just gaining that trust. I was kind of like always in the office. I didn't have nothing to do. If I wasn't working, whatever, they see me out there. I was working out. I was gaining a relationship with one of my close buddies and pals now. My quarterback, my sophomore season at Mount Sac, and he was out there throwing to me, things like that, and I was just out there doing running back drills, all with going into my sophomore season with another close pal of mine, another running back that played with us. And they just kind of seen me like working and things like that. And I was always texting them because, they ran the weight room and stuff like that. I was always trying to get in the weight room, get a workout from them and things like that, and just get work in. So then I would just go in the office, I chop it up, talk with them, and they kind of just seen the work and the type of player and the guy I was becoming. So it kind of like grew like, yeah, okay, we trust this guy and things like that. Then going through spring ball, my sophomore season, they was like, okay, yeah, like he's a difference maker. Like, he's the best player on our team. They was telling me that.
I know your sophomore season then is when the offers start coming in. We'll talk about that in a second, UCLA and all that stuff. But after your first year, was offers starting to come to you at all? Was interest at least even coming to you? Or where did you stand with colleges heading into your sophomore year of JUCO?
I didn't really have I didn't really have that much interest like that. I think I talked to one school and it was like, I think it was Stony Brook. And that was the only school I talked to and stuff like that. And they had said something. The recruiter said something because I was in the office with my coaches. They had came through. I don't know what they was looking for, but they met me, like my size and things like that, and said that they'll be back or whatever, and things like that. But I kind of wasn't paying attention. Like I'm kind of guy, I don't pay attention to all that and things like that. Like I just try to focus on what's going on now, in the now, and take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and that's just kind of how I am. So I don't really have no interest going into my sophomore season until like spring ball. I think spring ball is when it's like when a lot of coaches come out and they see you in person, things like that. Like they watching practice and stuff like that, and they were just like, whoa. Like I had like some coaches stop me after I ran drills and stuff like that, just took off downfield and stuff, and they like after I was catching the ball and stuff, they like, they even know who my name is. I had coach like, hold on. He like, what's your name, sir? I mean, son, what's your name? I told them my name and stuff, and they was just, it kind of was starting to take off from there.
You obviously had to have, in some sense at least, a timer on saying, okay, well, this is my final year now. There's not many other options I'm going to do except for going to Division I. Did that put any type of pressure on you heading into your sophomore year?
No, honestly, I wouldn't even lie. Nothing like that even crossed my mind. I just knew if I took care of business in the classroom and just be me on the field and do what what I was, like I said, preparation, what my preparation was and what it taught me, and just be me, then, it'll all take care of itself. It'll all take care of itself.
You end up going for 1,264 rushing yards, which is 6.4 yards per carry that year, and 10 touchdowns. You also get 2 touchdowns receiving, 216 yards receiving too. So you obviously, that's your breakout year. And this is when all the offers come into you and all that stuff happens. What led to that season? Just what was it like for the first time since high school getting the chance to be the guy and kind of dominating for the very first time in 3 years now?
It was kind of like, it was awesome. I didn't even look at it like that though. I didn't even look at it. I didn't even look at it like that though. I just kind of looked at it as like, um, I got to do my job. Like everybody got to do their job. I got to do my job, and I got to do what my teammates trust me to do, and what I trust myself to do. And because my OC, I think like, because one thing about me sometimes, not sometimes, but like I always talk to my OC like we was close, we close, and my quarterback and the quarterback coach and things like that, and they would tell me, like kind of like just take what the defense give you, things like that, do your reads, don't ever put too much pressure on you to like be a big play. You gotta break every run, like break a run every play, because that's kind of how I was thinking and how I be thinking. Not now, but how I was thinking at that time. So, after I took that and I was like, yeah, like, kind of like relaxed and calmed me down. So, honestly, it was just kind of like I said, it was cool. It was fun.
You then get the interest coming in, offers coming in. UCLA is where you end up committing mid-season then, or right around, I think it was during October-ish, I believe, or something like that. So walk us through the whole process then. Why did UCLA win you over originally? And why just kind of feel like, okay, this is where I want to play college at that point in time?
I liked the Cali. Um, I don't know. For some rare, weird reason, I always had like UCLA in my mind. Like, I'd go play for UCLA, things like that. Like, I don't know why. I was always telling my quarterback that I played with. Like, for some reason, I was just telling him, I'd go play for UCLA. Like, for some reason, I'd go play for UCLA. And it was like, I like being in Cali, things like that. I feel like they had a great running back coach, Coach Deshaun Foster, who's still there and things like that. And I just thought he could help me out and be successful, like on the field and off the field, and just kind of teach me the ropes because he had played at UCLA and was very successful and played, some years in the league, so NFL. So that's really what kind of drove my decision was him.
If you go back to that point, was there another school that you'd say kind of finished second in that running for you, or was it just UCLA all the way? No one else you were really interested in at that point?
It was kind of really, it was other schools that interested in me. I had a couple of HBCU offers at the time, but it was kind of like, which was cool, which, we was planning and stuff like that. I like that I had the HBCU offers at the time, and we was planning on, me taking trips and stuff like that, even to the HBCUs. But, UCLA was like the first Power Five school to, pull the trigger on me. So it was kind of like, blessing and things like that. And it was like, they the first school to give me a chance and things like that. But the crazy part is, yeah, I end up like, okay, yeah, I commit because like I said, I really liked the running back coach and we kind of hit it off.
You then go through your season. You obviously play the way you did. You have that breakout season. Then it comes around to February and you decide to decommit from UCLA. What led to that decision?
We kind of just decided to part ways. It was some things that kind of happened and went down, and we both was just like, okay, I don't, it kind of was like it ain't a fit no more.
So you then have to decide. You have obviously a lot of schools come into play. We know you go to ASU eventually, but what's that next 2 or 3 months time span before from the time you decommit to time ASU? Who was all heavily in the running for you? What other schools would you really like going to possibly, or you had a severe interest in? Like, what'd your recruiting process look like at that point in time for this 3 month span?
I think I had a bunch of like, I had a bunch of Mountain West Conference offers.
Mm-hmm.
I had like an Indiana, Tennessee offer at the time, but I understood that I didn't know that the two running backs was leaving at the time, but I had them two offers at the time, and I was like, I was messing with Indiana. I liked them. I liked them. And then, obviously I was messing with Tennessee somewhat, but I had like Utah State. I had ended up taking a trip to Boise State. Um, I could kind of keep naming a couple more schools, Colorado State, things like that. But I ended up was just like, I'm gonna take my time this time. Make sure, I make sure this is the one, this is the right fit. And my coach was telling me the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
same thing.
May 16th comes, ASU gives you the offer, you commit there 5 days later. How did they come in that quickly in terms of the offer and just you decide, okay, right then and there, pretty much within that same week, then you decide this is where I want to play my college football at?
Uh, they just kind of came in. Everything was on Zoom at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Came in with a good plan. Came in and just kind of let me know. Like I said, I was a big guy. The scheme, the coaches, everything had to feel right. And this time I made sure that not just I liked it one coach, I made sure I liked all the coaches,
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what's happening. I had a good feel for it. They really liked me, and I decided like, okay, like that's the fit, that's the place for me.
So when you do get out to Arizona, it's not necessarily just a handed job to you. You end up having to work through it, obviously, training camp, and you know getting that spot. And you guys don't play too many games, only 4 because of COVID stuff. But when you got out there, what was it like competing for that spot? And just take us through the training camps and getting prepared for that season.
It was tough. Type of coach I got. He was hard. It was hard. Things like that. And he likes to make the right decisions, things like that. So honestly, though, it was kind of like for me, just football, just understanding that, like I said, there's nothing given. I only have 2 years left in college. In my college career. I'm blessed right here with this opportunity, and what am I going to do with it? And that's kind of like how I was thinking and how I be thinking, and I'm like I got to take full advantage. I'm just not a guy that honestly that likes to come off the bench and believe like I'm an off the bench talent. So I'm like I got to win the starting spot over, and just do whatever it takes. So that's kind of what was happening in training camp. It's just training camp. It was hot as heck though. It was hot, definitely hot.
And that is something different too. I mean, you were in California, which they don't have as hot as Arizona. Obviously, it's more warmer than Missouri's in to a degree. I know Missouri's probably more humid and all that, but how'd you adjust to the Arizona heat though out there?
I adjusted. I ain't even gonna say good. That'd be a lie. I mean, you adjust it. I adjusted when I adjusted, but it took a cool little minute, like at least a week and a half or so, maybe almost 2 weeks, because it was just too different, like of a heat, like the desert heat and things like that. Like I just know I was taking bottles of water, like I was taking baths out there, like we was working out and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I wasn't even drinking the water no more. I was just pouring it all over me.
You also know that you were replacing, in a sense, especially once you got that starting job, a great running back at ASU, one of the best they've had, Benjamin, and you end up basically replacing him as good as anyone possibly could. You go out there and you dominate the way you've done now for 2 years. But what was that like? Like knowing that you have a path line away. Like there was a guy that just went right before you, went to the NFL, is able to do what you want to do eventually. How big was that for you? And just what was that kind of, in a way, following in his footsteps to a degree?
Honestly, I wouldn't even like kind of like I respected and like what he had did,
Mm-hmm.
and understand what he had did, but I wasn't even like thinking about that. I was kind of just focused on like well being me. Like everybody is themselves. Everybody is different and unique in their own way, and that's just kind of how I was thinking. Like I just kind of got to be me. I'm in a great spot, great opportunity. My head coach is Herm Edwards. My coaching staff is this and that, and I could keep naming down the line of guys playing the league or coaching in the league. And I was just like, kind of like, let's win games, really. That's what I was kind of, what I was focused on trying to do.
I got to ask about Coach Edwards because he's someone that there's a lot of people that have mixed feelings about him out there, obviously, because he is a little bit more old school. I know so many more people are more towards the nicer player coaches to a certain extent, but obviously, you've mentioned a few times, Herm Edwards is not that. He's going to be someone that gets in your face. He's energetic. He's pretty much a lot of the opposite of what a lot of people like today for some people. So, walk us through Coach Herm Edwards and just how did you guys get along and what is he like being coached by?
He's great, I would say, honestly. And
Mhm.
that was just a pause to think of some words to say, but he's great. Great coach, great leader, just great man. Teaches you a lot of lessons. lot of life lessons, a lot of understanding, just understanding what you got to do in this world as a man to understand what you got to do on the football field. And, he gives guys, gives you your space. Really, he runs it like, NFL professional. He trusts guys and to make the right decisions. And, he believes in guys, that they'll do the right thing. And, that's kind of what he coaches and what he teaches.
Was that coaching style the type that you like? Like, do you like a coach that's in you, that's in your face, aggressive like that? Or is that something that you would prefer maybe not being as much like that? Or what kind of coaching style do you like the most?
I don't know. Like, honestly, I mean, like, I mean, if a coach in your face is that, I mean, you just must be doing something to make that coach get in your face. That's how I think
Mhm.
about it. So it's like, it's not big on what I prefer. I prefer any coaching, but I just prefer coach. Coach is like, it's like a teacher. Like coach, they supposed to teach you, make sure you have understanding. So, I just prefer that, like a coach that can teach you things like that. And you got to stay calm and composed. I'm a guy that believes like getting angry, getting mad, they're going what is it gonna fix? It ain't gonna fix nothing. And, a lot of things nowadays, players, obviously like you said, they respond to like, you know, angry and yelling coaches, differently nowadays. But yeah, I mean, I prefer anything, you got to have tough skin to play football. So
You mentioned the lessons he's taught you, and that is something I think comes with in any sport you're playing with. When you have a coach that's done what you want to do, knows what it takes to get there, that's a huge benefit for anybody. But what would you say is the biggest lesson that Herm Edwards taught you?
um, I would just say like just being a man, honestly. You know what you got to do in this life as a man, who you got to take care of, what you got to take care of, and just being in the right, being just being places on time and being presentable. That's what I would say.
Now, what your favorite memory? What's the favorite memory that you've created with Herm Edwards over your 2 years there?
I don't even know, honestly. I don't even know. I'm trying to think, but I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, coach is just a funny guy. I don't even know.
Let's hop into that first year for you because it's not necessarily the easiest first division 1 year for you. You guys only get 4 games that year. And the big reason for that is you have to deal with a pandemic. You guys have the intense protocols on you guys. You guys have to deal with all this stuff going on. How did you get accustomed to the COVID season?
It was tough. You got to test every early morning. You never know if you don't really know. Like, you don't gotta be like, that's not even necessarily mean because you got COVID, you went out or whatever. People get COVID that, just stay in the house or just go to work. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, at the end of the day, it was kind of tough, but, you got to adjust. We wanted to play, we did. And, you had to make the sacrifices and just hope and pray that, you didn't pop for COVID because you'd be out, basically the whole season, like, your whole 4 games basically. So it was tough, but, it was kind of fun, just to know, like, you play football during COVID, like, during the pandemic and.
Everyone I've talked to seems to have a favorite memory because of COVID, because it did create a lot of different things than you're typically used to in terms of being around guys and whatnot. So, was there one memory that stands out the most during the COVID season for you?
I believe what we play. Who we play? USC, and we end up playing UCLA. We play Arizona, Oregon State. All right, so like I believe so. It's before we finna play UCLA. Like it's literally, yeah. The guys went to the hotel that day, so I think we played them on Saturday night. My COVID year. Friday, we go take because we go to the hotel pretty early. So Friday, the morning, we got to take a COVID test. So I take my COVID test. Then I got to leave real quick to run errands or whatever. Or I think we did walkthroughs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then and you get a little time before, the bus leave for the hotel. So we play at UCLA at home too. So um, I got to leave. I leave real quick. I got to go. I think I ran some errands real quick. I forgot what I had to do, but I ended up getting a call while running some errands saying like, where you at, blah, blah, blah. Basically kind of you got to get home or whatever because, your test came back positive. second game of the season. So I'm like, oh wow, like that's crazy. Like you for real, things like that. So I'm not really hot, but I'm kind of like, dang, like that's crazy. Like my test came back positive, So then I end up but I think it was like some false positives going around. So it was because it'd be false positive tests.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you sure? Like this and that, it's not a false positive. It's not this. It's not that. Because we had to take my first year, we had to take 2 COVID tests. We took a nose one and we took a saliva one. I think the saliva one took a minute to come back, like later on, and so that's why we took a nose one too, because the nose one come back faster. So my nose one end up, which was the test that guys had false positives on, was the one that came back. So they like, just go home just like that. We're gonna wait for your saliva test to come in. If that says positive, then there's like, then you got COVID. So I'm waiting for the longest, like waiting all day, literally like all day. Like, damn, I ain't never gonna get this call. I'm texting my trainers and stuff like that. Like, bro, I ain't like, at least just let me know. I think I'm texting him. He calling me like, no, we still waiting. Obviously, we ain't forgot about you. We still waiting. We waiting. Like, we rushing people. So end up, calling me or texting me and say, we good. Such and such is on the way to get you now. And I end up being, cool to play the rest of the season. But yeah, at first it was like, I was like, oh dang, because I was gonna have to miss UCLA and Oregon State.
When you talk about playing UCLA there, I have to imagine there was a little bit of extra something going into those games because of obviously the past relationship and all that stuff. So when you did line up and you got to go out there and you got to go see UCLA on your schedule and you go out there and play against them, was there a little extra something that you always put into those games?
Nah, I played every game the same. Honestly, it wasn't no hate, it wasn't no, kind of animosity. I was just, like I said, just trying to win. So I did whatever I could to do to try to win.
You then head into this past season, and COVID obviously was still present. It's still been there. It's had effects, especially on the later parts of the season, but much less protocols and much more easy going schedule in season than obviously your junior year was. So hop into the senior year then. You were obviously getting ready to take over. We knew you were pretty much the guy heading into it. What was your mindset and goals and expectations for your final year of college football?
My goal, honestly, was just to make the most out of, every opportunity that I got. Honestly, it was just, make the most out of every opportunity I got and do whatever was necessary and needed for our team to win. I kind of wanted, I'm sick, but I wanted to get, ASU over the 8-5, better record than 8-5, and we let some games slip, but it's kind of how it goes sometimes. So that's what my main goal was, to win more than 8 games and not lose 5.
Do you feel number wise? I mean, you look at 15 touchdowns. That was obviously all your numbers were great because you finished up as one of the top players in the Pac-12 and country pretty much as a whole. So, do you feel number wise that's exactly what you thought you could have done? Did you think you could have done better? Was that right at where you thought? Did you do worse than you're expecting, or where do you feel production wise you were at this year?
Uh, I mean, honestly, how I look at things, like I said, I look at things different. So I just feel like that's what was needed, in order to win. So I just felt like, things like that, like, even during the season, stuff like that. Like I don't really, I don't pay attention to numbers or things like that. Like I said, I just kind of, you got to keep moving on and keep moving forward, and that's just kind of how I look at it. I'm blessed to, put up the stats that I put up, but at the same time, I was just trying to do what I can do to help the team win.
And at this point, you started after imagine at least you heard from other people and people around you saying, okay, we now have you as a NFL prospect. I know Mel Kiper had you in his top 10 to start the season, and you've been there all year long too now up to this point as well. So how did you start balancing that? Because at the same time, I have to imagine that you're like, okay, I'm getting close to this dream now. Like it's actually reality. It's in front of me. I can obviously it's about a couple months away, a year away, or whatnot. Did that get you at all? Did you ever focus on the NFL? Or how did you kind of, if not, just how did you kind of balance that, and not ever focus in on NFL dreams during the season?
Nah, honestly, it didn't get me at all. I would just focus on the season. And like I said, that's just how I am. Like I just focus on what's in the now, what I got going on right now, what I got, going on tomorrow. The future and stuff like that. When they get here, it all take care of itself. But I wouldn't kind of pay attention at all. And yes, I did have a lot of people, and I have people like saying this and that. And did you see Mel Kiper? He got you this. And I don't see that. I don't kind of fall into that. I like just being cool, just chilling. Keep my mind away from all them things, and kind of just focus on what I got going on this side.
What's the biggest thing you feel like you improved on throughout this past year?
Um, the biggest thing I feel like I improved on was speed. Honestly, that's the biggest thing, and then obviously I feel like size. My first year at SU, I wasn't that big.
Well, you now have been selected to all these different awards now, and obviously the big one coming up for you is in, I believe, 2 weeks now, maybe 3 weeks, but it's the Senior Bowl coming up. How excited are you for that? And just what was it like knowing that you got to be a part of that now?
Kind of was just blessed when it came in. I was just grateful, for opportunity that not a lot of people get, and it's very exciting, and it's very, very, I'm very honored, and I just like I said, just been focused on the task at hand, and what I need to what I'm gonna go up there and that need to be what need to be accomplished and done. And at the end of the day, you just gotta be yourself and do what got you to this point.
If by the time you leave that, for you to be able to say that was a successful time for you, like you did everything you wanted, what do you need to accomplish? Is there certain things you have goals for yourself? Do you want to make a statement? Do you want to prove that you can or cannot do this? Like, what is something that you want to do out there?
No, I honestly don't I don't have nothing that to like that is to the point where it's like I want to prove this, I can do that. Just go through the drills, get the coaches what they want to see, run the plays, things like that, learn offense, and just like at the end of the day, be a football player, and be me, catch the ball, run the ball, or whatever they want to see. I'm just gonna give it to them.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into NFL stuff, there's a story I do want to get into about you. And I think everyone starts to know your character more and more now, not only just this interview, but throughout your career. So, one part is that you obviously are thinking about others at different times. And there was a special moment you had where you could have scored a touchdown. You go out the two, you let Jackson get the touchdown. Walk us through this whole thing. Like, what kind of led to that and talk about your guys' relationship? Just take us through your mindset, just everything behind that story.
Um, like I said, honestly, in Jackson, he's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
I built that bond with him. He's one of my close friends, and we was winning by a good margin. Like I said, I'm not a big stats guy, things like that. I want to see everybody win. I want to see everybody succeed. And, Jackson put in so much work, to kind of, get his chance to get his opportunity. And, I would feel like, I already had so many opportunities and things like that. It was the last game of the season. And, it just, it wasn't my time. It was his time. And that's kind of what, led to that.
How did you guys form that relationship? I mean, obviously you have the same positions and whatnot, but what led you guys to click? And was it a certain moment that you guys realized, like, okay, that's my guy? Just kind of form that tight relationship?
Yeah, just kind of everything we did. Kind of me coming in, we would go over plays together. He would help me out, things like that. He would, just kind of be there. We'd go get a haircut together. Just things like that off the field. Just enjoy, have fun together, things like that. He took me to eat some real Chinese food. Like it was like pig feet or something like that, but it was horrible. I tell him that all the time. But just kind of just hanging out, kicking it.
Well, let's hop into this NFL time for you now because you're about 3 months out from the draft. Obviously, there's gonna be a lot of focus on that. You're gonna start going through the combine stuff, working out for teams, all that different stuff, interviews. What are you most excited for about this process?
Honestly, I'm just most excited about showing, kind of what I can do. A lot of people believe you can't do this, you can't do that. A lot of people believe, you're gonna run this, you're gonna run that. So honestly, I'm just excited about showing what I can do. But honestly, I'm just really focused on like my goals, what I want to run for myself, what I got planned, what I want to bench, what I want to jump, things like that. Just working on like for myself, and at the end of the day, I gotta be happy and satisfied with myself more than what can be satisfied with. anybody else because you can't still really control where you get drafted. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
you see it all the time. So I don't worry about things that's out of my control. I just worry about things I can control. And at the end of the day, you got to have goals and things like that for yourself. So I just kind of want to go, just have fun. Really, that's let it all hang out.
If a GM came and asked you, what will you be bringing to my football team? How would you answer that?
I just tell them I bring fun. I bring seriousness. It's a time to play, time not to play. I just bring a different mentality. I love football, so what I can bring is a guy that do anything you need him to do. A guy that's gonna give his all every time he step out there, and a guy like I said that's more about team winning. That's all I care about is wins.
Are there any, or maybe even one specific running back that, in a sense, you model your game after, or maybe even you take pieces from and put into your game?
Yeah, I say you take pieces and you watch film of like a lot of guys that you like, but like me, I don't really model my game after anybody. I just try to be me, just try to be different. Like I said, try to be unique, but staying in the frame of myself and just having fun out there.
I know you also want to build a legacy for yourself. So by the time you do end up walking from here to football, is there something you want to remember for what you achieved both on and off the field?
Uh, Honestly, yeah. Like you said, I'm a guy that really loves football. One thing I really want to achieve, and this is by my heart, and I'm not talking just a talking, is a gold jacket. I know that ain't easy. I know that would never be easy, but that's one thing that I want to achieve, and and I'll really be satisfied and things like that. But honestly, just having a healthy and blessed long career, or healthy and blessed career, is what would be fine. Like that, I'd be satisfied with. And I feel like everything else will take care of itself.
I know you're also a believer. So talk us about your faith a little bit. I know we've gone through it a little bit throughout the interview, but how would you say God's helped get you to the point that you're at today?
I just say, God works wonders, and like I said, God took me on that journey and took me on my path that I am here today. And like I said, I'm very blessed and grateful for that. And He helped me get out some dark spots in my life, some dark times. And he just guided me and kept me humble and kept me to who I am today.
Out of this entire journey we've gone through, is there one moment specifically that you'd say you relied on God or you trusted him the most?
Yeah, I would just say JUCO. I really trusted him. I really relied on him. He was just, like I said, just there with me. Just there with me, helped me, kept pushing, helped me, kept fighting. Those times, you do want to give up, and you like, dang, like it is tough, and that JUCO journey, guys living in cars, and you see Last Chance U and stuff like that, and especially like the California team, and I seen guys like that, and I could say I was one of the guys that that been through some stuff, been in apartments and stuff like that. Seen guys get evicted, guys, was a guy that, was in situations and house and stuff like that. And, but, just God kept you, humble and fighting and, kept me not to go back home and things like that because, he knew and I knew that going back home, it was a chance that I wasn't going, be playing football anymore or come back.
As you get a larger and larger platform throughout your career, are there certain ways, maybe in like one specific way that you plan to be able to be the light and continue to spread God's word, whether it be a charity thing, just social media wise? Like, is there a way that you plan on spreading the light and being the light to the world?
I don't even know. I haven't even thought about that yet. But I kind of like let people be, themselves. It's people that don't believe in God or people that believe in, certain gods and certain things. So I don't want to rub people the wrong way, but I always, post and things like that. I just, say I'm grateful and I'm blessed and my favorite like emoji is the prayer hands because that's just really like what I feel.
Absolutely, man. Well, my final thing for you, give NFL fans and even the NFL team that's selecting you, what's your three biggest goals that you have set for your rookie season?
Um, rookie season. Offensive player of the year, rookie offensive player of the year. Make it to the playoffs. I don't know, like just give back, try to give back as much as possible to certain communities.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking time to come on in, man. Best luck for the rest of the process. I'm excited to see what God's got in store for you, and best luck going forward, man.
I appreciate you so much. Grateful for you having me on, man. Truly a blessing.
Anytime you want to come on, just let me know. You're always welcome on, man.
I appreciate you.
Of course, man. God bless.